I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com and welcome to Movie Endings Explained. In this episode we're going to be looking at the 1968 sci-fi classic, Planet of the Apes. The film was written by Michael Wilson, based on an original draft from Twilight Zone creator Rod Serling, which in turn was based on a 1963 novel by French author Pierre Boulle entitled Planet of the Apes, or sometimes Monkey Planet. While the Michael Wilson draft stripped down a lot of the ideas in Rod Serling's initial crack at the script, his take on the twist ending of the film was retained. More on that later. Franklin J. Schaffner was brought on board as the director, and with Charlton Heston in the starring role, Planet of the Apes became a very successful film for a science fiction picture, particularly with critics more than anything.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
It follows a group of astronauts traveling through deep space, who awake after a year or so of hibernation sleep to a crash landing in a vast lake. One of their shipmates died in hibernation, leaving Charlton Heston's George Taylor along with Dodge and Landon. They make their way across an eerie and desolate landscape, wrestling with the knowledge that they have now moved past the time on Earth they once knew by over 2,000 years. By traveling at near light speed, the people of 1972 they left behind would now be living in the year 3978. Taylor appears very comfortable with this information and accepts their fate quite readily, while his crewmates, especially Landon, are quite uneasy with this concept. They eventually come across humans who appear to be very primitive. Then a group of horse-riding apes turn up, attacking all of the humans, eventually shooting Taylor in the throat and capturing everyone. In the first moment of social commentary that the film generally weaves very smoothly into the entire story, and in a very tongue-in-cheek manner, we see the apes posing for pictures with their haul of captured humans. Unable to speak, Taylor is presumed to be as unintelligent as the other humans on this planet, though he strives to communicate without his voice, leading the apes to believe he's not as worthless as the others. And between this point of the film and the end, there's a whole lot of story, and I think Planet of the Apes is one of the all-time great science fiction films. A great story with engrossing production design that really makes the best of a smaller budget than you might expect, memorable performances, and a film that's capped off by perhaps one of the best endings of all time. Taylor manages to leave the ape settlement to venture out to the Forbidden Zone, an area outlawed by the apes for centuries. It's revealed that a non-simian, intelligent society may have lived on this planet before. Taylor, along with a number of apes including Cornelius, who had previously discovered some relics of that past, arrive at an archaeological dig site inside a cave. A human doll is among the artifacts that were uncovered, along with dentures, eyeglasses, and a heart valve. But the skeptical Dr. Zaius refuses all of the evidence, waving away the idea that man had once been intelligent and ruled this planet generations ago. Taylor eventually ties up Zaius, who then admits the truth.
And you're right. I have always known about man.
It still doesn't give me the why. A planet where apes evolved from men? There's got to be an answer.
Don't look for it, Taylor. You may not like what you find.
And Taylor definitely did not like what he found as he journeyed further into the Forbidden Zone as the film reaches its dramatic and iconic conclusion. It ekes out the surprise reveal as much as possible, saving the full money shot for the very last moment. Anyone familiar enough with the iconography of the Statue of Liberty should recognize the outlines.
God, I'm back. I'm home. All the time it was. We finally really did it. You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
I really like how this bombshell finale, the reveal that Taylor has been on Earth all along, plays with no music at all. It's a nihilistic final note, and all you're left with, much like Taylor, is the eerie echoing of the waves lapping across the shore. Taylor has to sit with this, and so do we. He is literally floored by this revelation. But what in the hell is there to explain? At no point in the film does anyone say, this might be Earth 2006 years into the future, or hey, it's the Statue of Liberty, I guess we're still on Earth after all. Just the visual alone tells you everything you need to know, and in lieu of a dramatic score to punctuate the moment, you instead have the scenery-chewing condemnations from Charlton Heston. It's the idea that mankind is doomed to destroy itself. Zaius refers to man as a warlike creature who gives battle to everything around him, even himself, and that Taylor's breed turned to the Forbidden Zone from a paradise into a desert. The ending is generally considered to be one of the great twist endings in all of cinema. But is it even really a twist? The idea is very simple and in fact has been signposted throughout the entire film. For most who haven't seen it, they may be aware of the ending already. The Statue of Liberty scene is one of those pop culture moments you seem to just absorb by osmosis even if you haven't actually seen it, let alone seen the entire film itself. Cleverly, Taylor's stance in the film about this pre-ape civilization don't ever align with the notion that he's actually still on Earth. He views it as an entirely new planet with an ancient buried history of technologically advanced humans. Even when he finds the heart valve and the dentures, he notes that they're similar devices that Earth had and that they all point to the weakness of man. Poor eyesight, bad heart, false teeth. The man who was almost gleeful at the fact that he had travelled 2,000 years past the Earth he once knew, who was so confident in the science he believed in, didn't for a second consider that they had merely travelled forward through time and ended up right back where they started, in an Earth unfamiliar to them. The arrogance of man is projected through Taylor when they first meet the primitive humans, and he suggests that they could easily take over and run the planet themselves.
Look on the bright side. This is the best they've got around here. In 6 months, we'll be running this planet.
Now, at the very beginning of the film, we open with Taylor dictating the time dilation theory, that even though his crew had been travelling, the Earth had already aged 700 years. We even see a dual clock on the ship that depicts Earth's time and then the ship's time. Taylor even supposes that the people who might be reading his message in Earth's future will be a different breed, hopefully a better one.
You who are reading me now are a different breed. I hope a better one.
This is literally all in the first 70 seconds of the film and neatly bookends the film with this central idea when you look at the beginning of the film and you look at the end. Even Landon, when the crew first ventures out from their ship, seems skeptical and says this.
The question is not so much where we are as when we are.
It's not so much where we are as when we are. All in the first 10 minutes, this idea that they might actually be back on Earth way into the future is presented really boldly in front of you on the screen. Then there's the fact that the landscapes and surroundings of the film are exactly the same as Earth. We have humans, breathable atmosphere, nothing about the scenery looks oddly unlike Earth. The original script from Rod Serling, who came up with the Statue of Liberty twist, apparently depicted the ape civilization as technologically advanced, but it would have been too costly to film. To show the apes as living more primitively was more achievable for the budget they had to work with, which ultimately I think helps the story, as the concept of the human society who ruled Earth before, bringing about their own demise in an advanced technological world, is a very fitting and thought-provoking idea. The original novel is much different, revolving around a space-traveling couple, Jin and Phyllis, who find a manuscript in a bottle detailing a man's journey to Betelgeuse with 2 other companions. They end up on a planet run by apes, and that story within the story follows much of what the film shows us. At the end of this manuscript, the man returns back to Earth to find it inhabited with intelligent apes. Jin and Phyllis scoff at this entire story and throw the manuscript away. It's revealed that Jin and Phyllis are actually civilized chimpanzees traveling through space, and they both found the idea of intelligent humans to be ludicrous. It's a wonderful twist, but one that only really works in the form of a novel. With the visual medium of film, the gag would be ruined from the opening scene. And so the film adaptation instead focuses on this story within the story from the original novel, but expands upon the thread of an ancient advanced human society that once lived on the planet of the apes, and removes a return trip to Earth, instead weaving the twist that the planet of the apes is Earth into the story. I think the fact that the twist ending to Planet of the Apes has worked for so long and still ends up retaining the surprise reveal even though it very fairly spoon-feeds you all the ingredients of the twist is one of the great magic tricks in the history of film. And even if you do know the ending, which I did when I first watched the film, the way in which Charlton Heston portrays this journey of discovery makes it all work regardless.
You maniacs! You blew it up! Damn you! God damn you all to hell!
It's a dark ending that offers no hope and crescendos into bleakness. It makes you think about what we're doing to the world and how we very well could end up destroying it ourselves. The older Planet of the Apes gets, the more slicing and close to the bone its final message becomes. But it's really up to you whether you resign yourself to that possibility, or whether you resolve your hope that completely wiping ourselves out will only ever happen in the fictitious story of the Planet of the Apes. Fictitious story of the Planet of the Apes. In the fictitious story of the Planet of the Apes.